Okay, welcome to our Body Electric Weekly webinar. At sometime in April, I've sort of lost track of dates, so I don't know. We're somewhere in April. We're rocking and rolling 2017, and I'm super excited because you guys, I finally feel like I feel like I'm back. Ellery is sleeping at night from like 7 to 7. Woo! Minus like one wake up in the middle of the night, but I don't know. Like I actually prepared a PowerPoint tonight. Like I feel like for the first time in 6 months. I feel like I have focus, and I feel like I know what we need. I know what you guys need to be hearing about. So I'm super excited to just kind of share this topic with you guys tonight. I also have a few announcements that I want to share, and actually I want to make sure that I remember one of them. So I'm going to make a note real quick. Of course, I just said that and she started crying. How funny is that? Okay, so I'm going to start off by sharing my screen so that you guys can see my fancy little thing. Okay. So obviously tonight's topic is going to be something that I hope is very relevant to at least I know you guys who are on the call tonight. I know a lot of you guys are, the reason you're here or the reason you're tuning into the recording even is because you're wanting to make this business a business. And so I want to make sure that I'm equipping you with all the right tools. I think we do a lot of focusing on, recruiting people into our challenge groups and helping our customers thrive. And, even teaching you, I think we've done a pretty decent job of teaching you income opportunity and that sort of thing. But I feel like one area that we're lacking in is our coach recruitment side of things, right? Like building your team. And essentially at the end of the day, like that's what this business is all about, right? Like you can only reach so many people if you're doing this yourself. If you're bringing people on board, and you are, bringing other coaches onto your team, then you have more of a ripple effect. You have more lives that you can touch and that you can change. If I would have decided to just kind of remain a hobby coach 7 years ago and to not really pursue building my team, I'd be making very little in commissions. My income would not be that awesome. And I would not have met some of the awesome people that we have on this team. And I would not have met some of the people that they have brought on board, right? That you guys have brought on board. And so it's so much more of a rewarding experience when you build a business and you build a team, right? Like that's kind of what we're in this for, because our reach becomes so much greater. So I want to talk to you guys specifically. You know how I am. I want to give you like as much detail as I can. I don't want this to be super generic. So I'm excited about that. Before we dive into the topic though, I want to go over a few announcements. The first one is about Summit. You're going to start hearing me talk about Summit every single week. I have a library of photos saved in a Summit folder, so I'm just going to pop some fun photos. This was taken in Nashville. Look at that, you guys. It was a Guinness World Record for a number of people at a live workout on Broadway in Nashville. So I know I've heard some details about what they have coming for the Superdome. I've seen some pictures of them with in preparation for the event. They're already planning, like they're already sending event planners for the July event to New Orleans to prepare and plan now. So it's going to be off the hook. The new trainer, Chris Downing, who was announced at Super Saturday, he's going to be there. The new program will be released at Summit called the Shift Shop. I have to be really careful when I say that because sometimes it comes out wrong. But if you don't already have your ticket for Summit, or if you're thinking about it, just freaking do it. I mean, it's a business expense. You can write it off on your taxes. It's an awesome experience. You'll get to meet the rest of the team, in person, and it's just a really incredible way to sort of light your fire. So CoachSummit2017.com if you haven't already. Also, just a quick blurb. You guys might have seen the promotions we've been doing in the team page and the live stream from yesterday, but Amy and I are super excited to do another mastermind with the team. This time we're doing Put Your Dream to the Test by John Maxwell. I think we already have 7 people registered for the next one. We're going to cap it at 10. So if you're thinking about it, again, I encourage you to just take the leap and make the plunge and submit the paperwork for it. If you could submit it by this Saturday, that would be outstanding. We start next Tuesday, so just under a week before we get started on that mastermind. And really quick note, I started reading it. I'm actually doing 2 different masterminds about the same book. So one will be with the team, and then one I'm doing with some elite coaches. And I am already in love with this book. Like I am finding it super dense and super amazing. Like I feel like the content is very relevant to, I know what I need right now. And I think you'll find the same thing. This is a brand new announcement. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It came in an email today as a total surprise to a lot of Indiana coaches. but Joel and Jericho themselves are offering a Quarter Force live certification in Indianapolis. I know, Laura. And so it's going to be on August 13th. And I'm telling you, like, as soon as we hang up from this call, I know that they already have 25 people registered and it caps at 40. Okay, so they sent this email out like at 6 p.m. So 3 hours ago, and it's already over half capped. So Joel and Jericho are doing it, like they're coming to Indy to do the certification. It's from 10 to 6 p.m. on August 13th, which I think is a Saturday without looking at my calendar. So quarterforcelive.com, you should be able to, especially if you're a pro team member, you should be able to log in and get registered for that. Okay, also in the works, this is a body electric specific thing. I got thinking last week about how I feel like my challengers could just thrive so much better if they understood Beachbody On Demand before they got started. Do you guys feel like your customers sort of like, waver or they wait to get started because they don't know how? I mean, I even have some people who are not technologically savvy, or, when I send them my challenge tracker, they think that's all they need. They don't understand that there's Beachbody On Demand. So I feel like for people who aren't in it like we are, they need a tutorial. And I'm really surprised that Beachbody hasn't come out with one yet. But I think we don't need Beachbody to do it. We can do it ourselves. So feel free to take the idea. If you want to do one yourself, you guys have Zoom accounts. That's all I'm going to do. So I was hoping to have it done today and it didn't happen. My parents were here. So tomorrow I'm hoping to record it. I'm just going to come on Zoom by myself. I'm going to record. I'm going to screen share just like you're seeing right now. And I'm going to do like an actual walkthrough of Beachbody On Demand. So that way we can post it on our website. It can be on our YouTube channel. If you guys want to share it with your, maybe even on like your pre-day one in your challenge group so that people can kind of get a feel for it. My hope is to show them how to navigate the workouts, where they can find the Fix 8 cooking show, where they can find the information on the meal plans and stuff like that. It's going to be I'm hoping less than 3 or 4 minutes because I want to keep it short and to the point. So I hope to have that done no later than this week. It will be done before this weekend. So that's awesome too. So that's all I have for announcements, except I did want to mention this. Next week, our webinar is going to be very different, but I'm excited about it. I'm going to cover a topic that I think, honestly, probably I can't believe we haven't done before. And to a lot of you guys who are on here live, it's like preaching to the choir, but I'm hoping that maybe you guys have some coaches or some coaches on your team that you might be willing to personally reach out to share this with. I want to lead a webinar next week on why you should pursue this opportunity. So we have a lot of coaches already on our team who they have like a toe in, you know what I mean? Like they're not all in, or they've thought about it, but they're not totally sure, you know what I mean? Like they're kind of in that like discount category or kind of in the hobby category. And so I feel like this needs to happen. I feel like we need to have like a sort of like a come to Jesus moment where I talk to the whole team about what's here for you. And it can mean a lot of different things. But I want to show the coaches on our team what it really means to be a part of our team specifically, because I think that that's something that can get confusing and can get lost with people who get brought on board just for the discount. So if you have discount coaches, if you have hobby coaches, if you have people who just aren't certain about what this really means, but they are already signed up as a coach, I want to talk to them specifically, and you, because you're their leader, right? But I want to talk to them specifically about what they could be missing or what they could be pursuing. So that's really cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the topic for tonight, which is how to go about presenting the business opportunity. Okay, so the first things first, like I mentioned before, the reason we're covering this topic is because if you truly want to build a business, and I mean that in the regard of, building an income, if you really want to build maximum impact with what we have to share, you're going to build a team, right? You can only do so much on your own. I've already kind of alluded to that. So I came across these quotes. I'm reading a few different, I've read GoPro probably 2 or 3 times. I've read Miracle Morning for Network Marketers at least twice. And I'm reading a book right now called Fanatical Prospecting. So I knew that I could dig up some resources to kind of warrant my point here. But this is a quote from Eric Worre, who's the author of GoPro. He's great to follow on Facebook and Instagram if you're on those platforms. But he says, "This sounds easy, but it's difficult to do. All of us come into this business with the hope of recruiting some great people. It's hard to disconnect from those expectations, but you need to remember we're not hunters. We're not sharks. Our job is to educate people and help them understand what we have to offer. We act as consultants offering suggestions on how people can live a better life. And I love that because I think sometimes the reason why we hesitate to recruit, the reason we hesitate to bring coaches onto our team is because we feel, for whatever reason, like we have these misconceptions or this thing in our brain that we're hunting or that we're a shark of some kind, that we're in the sales business. And if you think about it from his perspective, right, like really, we shouldn't feel that way because that's not what we're doing. I know that for me, like when I first started in the business, I might have felt that way, but as I've become acclimated to it and I've talked to a lot of people and I've grown, you know, my team and my coaches, I now believe in what I have to offer, right? I'm no longer just trying to fulfill a number or bring someone on board. It's more just about their own success. And so what we have to offer really comes down to a life change. Like we can really actually present someone with an opportunity to change the income for their family, to simply get healthier, to build better relationships. Especially our team, we have the ability to help them grow personally, right, through personal development. So if we really believe that we have that better life to offer them, then our job is to educate them about what this is that we do, right? So a lot of times people just don't understand what that is. So I love this too from Pat Petrini, who's the author of Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. By the way, we have a recorded call with him from last year. So if you haven't tuned into that, that's in our recorded calls section of our website. But he says the number one skill of a top network marketer is the ability to present the business to anyone, anywhere. I don't know if you guys have ever seen my husband present this business with sugar packets, but he's really good at it. So we have been at multiple like dinner occasions or, you know, double dates or whatever you want to call it. And he pulls out the sweet milk packets and demonstrates sort of what it means to be a network marketing with Team Beachbody. And so what does that mean? It means that he and I know this business in and out so well that we can present it to anyone, anywhere, at any time. And you're sitting there going, okay, way to brag, awesome. But the truth is, the reason we can do that is because we have done it so much, right? First time we did it, probably not so smooth. Second time we did it, probably not so smooth. But as you do it more and more, and as you talk to different types of people, you get to be a lot better at it, right? And the more you're in the business, the more you understand. So again, why we're talking about this, you know, I want to cover that quickly because it should be obvious, because we want you to build your team. Because building your team is what's going to build you long-term success. Now, here's a caveat for you. Building your team is going to be a journey, right? It's going to be a journey. So what I mean is the people that you bring on board right now, so let's say that you're a newer coach, say that you're within your first year of coaching, the coaches that you bring onto your team in this first year of your coaching are going to be different people than you might find on your team a year or 2 or 3 years from now. Right? It's very true for me. Like, I know that when I first started, you know, I started with like my husband and my mom, my brother. I had a cousin that jumped on board. I had a coworker. I had a former sorority sister. I mean, I hit diamond with like some pretty, I would call it like, you know, warm market people, right? Like family and friends. And, you know, my family stuck around, of course, because they're my family, so they would buy dirt from me. But the other people that I brought on board fell away. Right? And what you're going to find in this business is that because of the personal development component and because we're constantly developing ourselves in that personal and professional way, sometimes it's kind of like a relationship. If you're in a relationship with someone and you're growing and the other person isn't growing, you could totally, you know what I mean? Like it could totally come to a head at some point and it just doesn't work out. And that can happen in this business, right? And so I know for me, like, I can see a difference in, you know, the types of people that I recruited early in my business and the types of people I recruit now. A lot of that is because of my own confidence level, right? I've gotten more confident. I've had a lot more conversations. And so now I'm more confident when it comes to approaching people and assuming that they're interested in all that jazz. So that's why we're talking about this, because I want you guys to feel confident enough to know that, yes, even if you started this business yesterday, you should be building a team, right? It should be a focus for you because in the long term, it's what's going to provide you with success. So I always like to give you guys these main takeaways in case you get nothing else from this. So the first one is for tonight, the only way that you get good at this is to do it repeatedly. Like literally to talk to more and more and more people. So I don't see any other way. I don't see any other way that this is going to become easy for you unless you just simply do it, right? Number two, confidence and passion negates all objections. So at the end of the day, like the specifics of what you say or having notes written out to have a conversation with somebody, right? Let's say you're having a phone call and you fully prepared all this information to share with the person about Beachbody coaching. None of that really matters if you don't come across confident and if you're not speaking from your own experience and with your own passion. So if nothing else, take that away, right? Like the best salesman in the world is the salesman who's confident and passionate about his product. Number three, you must believe that the opportunity that you have is an incredible opportunity to change your life. And you have to also believe that that is true for people that you're bringing on board. Okay, so they have to feel your belief. Like they have to feel like you truly do believe in them, that you're going to lead them, even if this is new to you. Even like I said, even if you just started this business yesterday, you're going to figure this out. I read a quote recently, and I don't know what it was in a book or somewhere. It basically said that the key to successful entrepreneurship is just simply being willing to figure things out. That is absolutely 100% true, right? Figuring things out is it. And so at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're bringing people, we believe in other people, we're bringing them on board, and we're telling them, hey, we're going to figure this out together. Okay, so what I did was I broke this into like 5 rules of successfully presenting the business opportunity. So this is my opinion, right? This is not anything official, but these are my 5 rules for how you can successfully present the business opportunity. Number 1, and I put these kind of in order, right? This is the most important in my opinion, is to speak from your own experience and what you are looking to do. Like, what are you going to do with this coaching opportunity? So it's funny because I talk to coaches who say, I don't know how to recruit people because I just don't really feel very confident as a leader myself. I mean, I only have like one other coach on my team. And this is, I'm still kind of young in this business. And what I want to say back to you and what I'm saying back to you right now is, well, I don't really care. Where do you want to go? Because what I'm buying into, if you're recruiting me, what I'm buying into is where you're going to go, right? Like you're telling me this is where I'm going to go and I want you to come with me. And so that's what you should be focused on when you're talking to people, right? Like, and I give some examples here. I know that when I was working my full-time job in publishing, I would say to people that I truly do believe, like I would tell them in private conversation, I truly believe that this is going to be a vehicle for me for leaving my full-time job. I believe that this is going to give me freedom down the road when I start a family to be able to create my own schedule, etc. Right? I would also say things like, I told my husband that the best thing for us to do is to just move forward and hope that if nothing else, I'm going to get healthier from this opportunity. I'm going to get healthier. I'm going to make friends that are also healthy and positive, right? So think about all those things that have made this experience what it is for you. I also suggest making a list of those things so that you know them, like so that you're aware of what those things are, right? And that's what you should be sharing about, whether it's through your public posts or when you're talking to people about the opportunity. Those are the things that draw people in. I actually was just talking to my life, Amy, yesterday. We had my one-on-one session. And I told her, I said, I'm really focusing myself on recruiting right now. And so that was what an hour and a half session we were talking about. And so she said to me, well, how do you go about recruiting coaches? Like what types of tools are you using or what are you saying to them? And I said, well, I'm basically just sharing my own experience, right? I'm also sharing my vision for where I want to go. And I'm telling them what I have gotten out of this opportunity. So the things that I tell people I tell them about the personal development, right? Like I tell them that was never something that was afforded to me through my corporate job, that it's so very available. I tell them about the masterminds that we have for our team. I tell them about the fact that someone plugged me into a book called The Slight Edge when I first started and how it changed the trajectory of my life. I tell them about how the health and fitness, you know, the nutrition piece has changed me too. So you can talk about a lot of different things when it comes to coaching that will appeal to people. You guys, have you seen that thing that says like, if you don't have a tribe, you need one, or whatever? There's like this whole quote that says like, whatever it is, you need one. And I totally believe that, because I feel like I was lost before I found this tribe. I felt like I had coworkers or whatever, you know, but I didn't really feel like I fit in. And so I think that that's important. Those are important things to share with people. So these days I even mention to people now, like, you know, I'm really finding this rewarding to help my own coaches succeed. You know, I have coaches that have their own goals, and it's really cool that, that I'm at the level now where I can also help them succeed in their business, right? So whatever it is for you, whatever it is, wherever you're looking to go, I want you to picture yourself there. And that's how I want you to talk to the people that you're recruiting. That is, my friends, is number one. And honestly, if you follow that, you should still be successful when it comes to recruiting. Here's the remaining 4 rules. Number 2, uncover how this business opportunity fits their need or their void. Right? This is exactly what we say when it comes to recruiting challengers, right? Like, how do you, like, you're not just going to talk to somebody about Shakeology and how it's an awesome amount of protein if this person doesn't have a protein deficiency, or if they're not looking to supplement their protein. You know what I mean? Like, you have to know what it is they're missing in order to know how it's going to fill their void. You can't just assume. So you have to ask some questions in order to figure that out. Here are some questions that I came up with just as some examples. These are some questions that I tend to ask in conversation. And I'll be completely honest with you guys. I had 2 phone calls today for prospective coaches, and I really like to do this over the phone. I feel more confident over the phone. I feel like I can get a better feel for the person's tone. I don't know. I feel like I can read the conversation and the situation better if I have a conversation. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like people also tend to open up more if they're verbally talking to you. So if I'm really talking about recruiting a coach, I want to get them on the phone. So that's just a little side note. Okay, so some questions would be like, you know, what would an extra $100 a week do for you and your family? Have you ever been given the opportunity to, you know, grow through personal development? Do you think helping others stay on track with their health and fitness would also help you stay on track? Do you feel like you have a tribe who has your back? So those are just some ideas, right? Those don't have to be set in stone, but those are just a few ideas that I came up with that I wanted to share with you. So the end goal is to find whatever that void is for them and to provide a solution. I'll tell you right now, if an original upline, she's not my upline anymore, but if my original upline would have just assumed that I wanted the income, and she would have tried to sell me on the business for the income piece, I probably never would have jumped on board. I think she did a great job of uncovering my void, right? She knew that I was working a corporate job, which was great financially, but I was missing something. I was missing that tribe. I was missing that positivity. I was missing that recognition. And that's how she's matched the opportunity to me. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, number 3, rather than finding coaches, create them. Rather than finding coaches, create them. So I hear this all the time, and it drives me crazy, really. I hear people say, like, when you're in trainings and stuff, they'll say, like, write down a list of attributes of your, you know, favorite, or like of your ideal coach, and then make a list of names of people that match. And I'm like, no, that never works. When I first started as a coach, there were all these people that I thought were going to be great coaches. Like, I had a sorority sister in college that was a roommate who owned a CrossFit gym. And I was like, she's going to be amazing because she's into fitness. And I had this other person who was, you know, she even had like she basically was like creating her own world of Beachbody On Demand like 7 years ago. She had a website where she was filming her own workout videos. People would subscribe, right? Like, and I was like, and this was before Beachbody On Demand ever came about. And I just thought, this girl's so smart. She's so entrepreneurial. She's into fitness. Nope, she had no desire, right? So the people that you think you're seeking them, I'm telling you right now, they're probably not going to pan out. And I'm not trying to be negative. What I have found is that it's kind of up to you to create that coach, right? To build them, to build into them, and to really just almost like grow them from the ground up. So by putting them in a challenge group and giving them an environment to thrive, one thing that I did, I mean, Shauna and Abby, I've said this a million times, but Shauna and Abby were in the same challenge group that I did a few years ago called Hot Mamas and Ripped Papas. And they were in this challenge group, and I remember I went on vacation for a week, and I was like, I'm not gonna just stop running this challenge group, but I'm gonna reach out to these coaches and see if they're willing to lead the group for me while I'm gone. And so Abby and Shauna stepped up as challengers and said, oh, no problem, enjoy your vacation. Like, I'll share some tips on hydration, and I'll share some tips on Shakeology recipes, right? So I literally had them lead the group. Which, what did I do? I put them in an environment where I'm showing them their potential, and I'm showing them that they're doing what it needs to be a coach. So I think it's important to also use recognition to point out those strengths. Something that I'm starting to do in my challenge tracker groups is to do recognition posts in the group. So you guys know how you can go into the like statistic, I don't know what it's called, I can't think right now, the metrics for the actual my challenge tracker. You can go in there and you can actually see, how many shakes they logged per week, how many workouts they logged. Why not recognize them, right? Like, why not have like a 7-day recognition, like this person logged 7 shakes this week, right? Why not do that? Kind of like we do for Success Club. So I think by pointing out their vital, because those are the vital behaviors of a coach too, right? So by pointing out the vital behaviors of those challengers, and then kind of connecting them to the idea that that's what a coach does, you're really just cultivating, you're creating the coach, right? You're not looking for the coach. Does that make sense? So, okay, the other thing that I have here as the last bullet point is to share what you do as a coach through your social media. So this is where people get kind of like, they're like, I don't know what to share. And I'm like, well, again, go back to that list of the things that you love about coaching, or the things that this opportunity has brought you, right? And share about it. Share about our mastermind calls that you're on, or share about the book that you're reading, or share about the people that you've met, right? All the things that you like about the business, those are things to be sharing. It's just as important to share that as it is to share your shake and your own workout and sort of like the customer end of things. So this is straight from Fanatical Prospecting. He calls it the 5 objectives of prospecting. So Jeb Blount is the author of that book. Again, I highly recommend it. Again, if you're building this business, I think this book is a definite purchase. The 5 objectives that he lists are, number 1, personal branding. So that kind of goes with what I was just saying, right? Sharing with your public following what it is you do as a coach so that they're fully aware of what it means. Inbound prospecting via education, educating your people on, tools of the trade, educating them on network marketing, educating them, being able to present the business to them. Trigger events, we're going to talk about this more specifically. This would be like having something for them to tune into, like a sneak peek, or, you know what I mean? Like glimpse in a coaching group, or whatever you want to call it. Buying cycle awareness would be the same idea as knowing when your customer orders are coming due and reaching out to them to say, hey, I know you have another auto ship coming up for your Shakeology this month. Obviously you're loving it. Would you be interested in talking about how you might be able to save some money on that and pay this forward, right? So being aware of your customers' buying cycle so that you can potentially know the perfect timing for them. Strategic prospecting campaigns. So in other words, putting your focus on recruiting, kind of like we did in the March Madness group for recruiting challengers. Why not have a little push for yourself, right? Why not have like a set week of the month that you just focus on recruiting every single month? The first week of the month, you're going to focus on recruiting, strategic prospecting campaign. And then the last one, of course, is outbound prospecting. So having a third-party tool that you can direct your prospects to, right? So whether it's self-created or something through Beachbody. Okay, I feel like I'm talking fast. Okay, number 5, and this is sort of just a side note, but I felt like it was important enough to share as a main point. Start with the big papa and use the little papa as your back pocket option. So in other words, I think too many coaches, especially when you're in the phase of being a new coach, or you're in the phase of kind of building your confidence with talking about coaching to other people, I think it's really easy to lead with a discount. I think it's really easy to say like, hey, don't you wanna like save some money on your shakes? Like we can talk about that, and I think that's really safe to have that conversation. And so that's what we're more likely to do. But really, what I try to do 99% of the time, unless I just believe that this person really could benefit from just a discount, right? If I really think this person could be a great coach, I'm going to lead with that. I'm going to tell them that I think that they would make a great coach. If we have a conversation and they say, no way, I have no interest, blah, 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 then I'm going to, at that point, say, well, it's at least worth saving some money with a VIP account or with a coach discount account, right? So here's a script that I just kind of wung today is wung a word? Like I wung it, whatever. Anyway, so becoming a coach on my team will seriously be a game changer. It has been for me and so many others. If you're like me, you'll get healthier, winning. You'll meet other positive people. I know I didn't get that in my corporate job. And you can earn an income to help support your family. Why not start with that, right? Because we want them to see this as an opportunity first and a discount second. Okay, so here's sort of like your homework / I guess activities that we can focus on for what you should be doing when it comes to prospecting. There's multiple things, right? The first one, which I believe to be the most important, is private messaging. Most of my phone conversations start with private messaging on Facebook, or today, actually both people were connected to me through email. So making sure that you're not just relying on public social media posts to bring people to you, because that is very, very rare. Having conversations is so, so key. So saying to somebody, hey, Linda, you're crushing this challenge group. I love seeing your posts. Have you ever considered becoming a coach on my team? I think you'd be great at it. You guys have no idea how far flattery will take you. Flattering somebody by telling them they would be amazing at something. What if somebody said that to you? What if you were the worst? I actually had this happen to me in high school, you guys. I am the worst possible baseball / softball player that has ever lived. I hate the sport. I don't like to watch it. But it kind of got to be this thing my junior, senior year of high school, where I think that was the first year that they had a softball team at my high school for girls. And I had all these friends of mine that were like, you should go out for the softball team. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, it's awesome. Well, I think they really just needed people. But I was so flattered that I did it. And I ended up in right field, and that was terrible. But the point is, though, and that's a terrible example. But my point, though, is that people will do anything for, with flattery. And I think that we should be using that more often to our advantage. Chris just said to me lately, he's like, why don't you just message people and tell them they'd be a great coach on your team? And I'm like, that's probably a really good idea. And that's probably way more simple, I think, than we tend to think, right? We tend to think that we have to know all the details and all the logistics. So use the phrase, have you ever considered, right? It's not, it's assuming interest, but it's also not assuming disinterest. It's very mild, right? It's not going to stir the pot or anything. It's a very cool, comfortable thing to say. The other thing, as far as activities go, that you should be doing is to create the environment for potential, right? Ask your challengers to lead the group on a particular day, or ask them to share whatever Shakeology recipe they like to use. See if they would lead the group on a particular day. Be okay with delegating to your challengers, because by doing that, you're putting them in a position of leadership, right? That's exactly what you're doing. So using the recognition to point out the vital behaviors that they are doing, which are the same as a coach, I think is brilliant. Okay, again, hosting your own events. So this doesn't necessarily mean hosting an actual physical event, but Facebook events. And I know that some of you are like, what? But I really think that you guys can do this yourselves too. So even though we occasionally do these events through Body Electric, led by multiple coaches on our team or whatever, I really think that if you're gonna take ownership of your business and run with this thing, that you should be doing this, right? Think about what top coaches are doing. Top coaches aren't just always relying on Janelle Summers or Christine Dwyer to have a sneak peek, right? They're doing it themselves. So think about having a Facebook event yourself, or partnering up with another coach to do it. Whether it's a sneak peek or whatever. Maybe it's just a Facebook live stream that you do where you're going to talk about what coaching is meant to you, or how you're looking to grow your team and what your mission is. Whatever the case, right? But be okay with handling it and owning it yourself. One thing that I'm considering doing, especially in the challenge group that I have right now, this one that I started 3 weeks ago is going really well. And so I'm thinking about doing one day every other week. I'm going to do an all about coaching day. So in other words, I'm probably going to preload 2 or 3 lead posts in the challenge tracker about coaching, like things that I like about coaching, right? Like maybe the personal development thing, the relationship thing, summit, right? Like sharing those types of things so that people kind of get a closer glimpse of the details of what coaching is. Have your own business opportunity recording. Okay, so talk about getting out of your comfort zone. Those of you guys who did the March Madness group, we talked briefly about having a video recorded about your challenge group that you can send out to people. I think you should have the exact same thing for the business opportunity. It doesn't have to be like a 20-minute deep dive into how to get started and the costs of your challenge pack. It can just be something that talks about what coaching is, right? Like just a very brief overview. It could be 5 minutes of what it means to simply be, afforded the opportunity to pay it forward, save money, and meet some great people. Yeah. So recording it on your phone or uploading it to YouTube and having it handy, I think it's an automatic third-party tool that isn't generic. It's not something that Beachbody gave you to use. You created it, and it's your face and it's your voice. And when you send it to people and you're talking to them about coaching personally, first of all, it's saving you time because you pre-recorded it, but also it's still making that human connection between you and that person. So here's what's really cool. I was literally in the middle of creating this today, and they uploaded a new file into the Elite Wall today that I'm going to be uploading into the team page tonight, called the Guide to Inviting, or Invitation Guide or something like that. And it's a brand new spin on like the invitation process, and it perfectly aligns with what we just talked about. I had already created the PowerPoint when I saw it. So this is a graphic from that file. So your homework is to not only create a list of what the attributes are about coaching that you love, that you can recruit people for, that people might also be interested in, right? People also need to have a tribe. But also, so that's number 1, make your list of what you love about coaching, start posting about those things, and start talking about those things. Number 2 is to create your recording, right? Like your video recording. Did you guys see that Facebook unveiled today? What are they calling it? Facebook Live audio. So it's like almost like Facebook podcasts. So you can actually, if you don't want to go live on screen, you can do it through audio, which is really cool too. So that's just a side note. But and then number 3, download this invitation guide that I'm going to upload to the team page. Print it off. There's a lot. It's a lot. It's like 4 or 5 pages of 10 font. Like it's a lot of words. But read it because it's really awesome. And it's obviously they put a lot of time into it. So my final points for you before we open it up, always be working from a list, right? I shouldn't have to say that. You should know that whether it's Teamsy or Google Streak or just a pen and paper list that you're working from, hopefully you have that list, because I know for me, too long, I relied on Facebook Messenger and I just relied on myself to just remember people, and it doesn't work that well. So work from a list, have that at your disposal for follow-ups. Consider suggestive hints, like you would make a fantastic coach, right? Like telling people that. I think I said that to Shauna, to Abby, to Tara. I think I said it to Laura. I've said it to all of you guys, right? You've all heard, how many times have you heard me say, if you're my personally sponsored coach, I probably told you a million times, like, yeah, you would make a fantastic coach. And I really meant it. Like, I'm not lying, right? Like, I really thought you would, but sometimes people have to hear that. They have to hear that 3, 4, 5 times, or they might have to hear it from, more than one person, or they might have to hear it in different ways. So consider starting to drop those suggestive hints, right? Assume people are interested and drop those hints. Number 3, fill their void. So don't just assume that they want an income opportunity when they might not, when they might just want the recognition. So know what it is that they're missing, and then fill that void with the business opportunity. Cultivate an environment for potential. In other words, grow your coaches, don't find them. Host your own events, and then always, always, always follow up, right? So like if you talk to somebody about something, if you send them a third-party tool or you send them your recording and then you don't follow up, like that looks bad on you. That looks like you weren't really serious or you didn't really think they'd make a great coach. So following up, if you do all of this other stuff and you drop the bucket on following up, you're just dropping the bucket entirely. So that's all I have for you. This is my favorite ever quote about network marketing. And you guys, honestly, when I was doing this today, I thought to myself, I can't even believe that I'm sitting here presenting to my team about our team, because I never would have thought that I would be in network marketing, right? Like, I mean, my whole life I've been part of something that's like the oddball. Like my sorority in college was like the non-sorority sorority, right? Like we were like the rebellious sorority. And so I feel like it's fitting that I'm a Team Beachbody coach, because even though we're network marketing, we're like the non-network marketing, right? We're like the people helping people, as Carl calls it. So I do feel like we have a better way. This Eric Worre quote that says, we have a better way and let's go tell the world, is absolutely true. I think not a lot of people get the opportunity to work with healthy, positive, like-minded people, to have the opportunity to grow themselves, to rule their schedule, to grow and create their own income, right? Like there's a lot of amazing benefits to what we do. And I think that we hide behind it too much. I think we hide behind it because of stereotypes and other companies giving it a bad rep. But if you really believe in what Beachbody has to offer, and you feel like, this Kool-Aid is worth sharing, which I know you do feel that way, then you'll go out and you'll tell the world. You'll be confident about it. And that confidence and that passion will absolutely spark interest from people. Not just interest, but commitment, which is where it's at. So do you guys have any questions for me about this topic? And I'm willing to answer whatever you want to ask. So anything you want to ask about recruiting. You can either unmute yourself or chat. Oh, wait, there are chat messages. Hang on. Oh, sorry, Laura. I just now saw your, I'm just now seeing the chat. The reading, yes. I think Amy said the introduction in chapter 1 for the mastermind next week. So if you're in the mastermind, the introduction in chapter 1. And then, yes, Joel and Jericho are doing the summit training. Yeah. So they're doing the summit training and the indie training. So you're not missing out. I tried to actually get into the summit training and it was sold out. I know several other coaches did too. So you're lucky. You're lucky. And yes, Tara, I'm excited for next week's topic. I think it's, what I mean? Like we talk to people about becoming a coach and then we talk to the people who are interested in pursuing the business, but there's sort of this void with some people who kind of get dropped through the cracks, who don't necessarily know how to start. So my hope next week is to really teach them how to start where they are. So what are you eating, Sarah? Like bolognese pasta with parsley on top or something?
Cauliflower and tempeh.
Oh, Bennett. And a homemade soy beurre blanc.
Simple, easy today.
I tease with love, you know that.
Yes, I do.
But seriously, my turkey burger was good tonight. So, okay. Any questions, you guys, about this? I know a couple of you are in my uplines, like Superstar Diamond. I don't know, what's she calling it? Like Diamond Bet or something. Like, and it's all about this recruiting thing. So I wanted to make sure we covered this for that too. Any questions about this that I can answer? Or
I have a quick one.
Yep.
Since I have such like a small team, and when I'm recruiting people to want to join, if I just exude confidence, even though I don't really have like a large network of people, is that what I need to be doing? Or is it more, okay.
Yeah, tell them where you want to go.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely. And I think that's what I do, right? Like, I mean, if I just relied on saying like, I'm a 2-time elite coach, like you should join me because of that, people are gonna be like, what? Like, who cares? Like, I don't care what you've done. I care where you're going, right? So it doesn't necessarily matter where you are, it matters where you're going. And so I think if you can convey that vision to them, and sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it's just something small that sparks the interest, right? Like, I very rarely have some sort of like Martin Luther King style visionary speech when I talk to like a prospective coach. Usually it's more about finding that void for them and then really expounding on that. So if someone says to me, yeah, I just really, I like my corporate job and it's comfortable, but I feel like there's something more within me, or I feel like I'm missing something, that's when I really try to find that same thing that I felt. Like I try to connect with them on that level and share a story about that for myself, and sometimes that is the connection that's needed. So it has nothing to do with like how big nobody ever asks like how many coaches I have or how many, or how big my team is. Like that doesn't matter. It's more about sort of like how big your heart is and how big, how much you want to help them succeed and where you want to go.
I kind of do the same thing, Sarah, because I have a small team too. I have one person right now that's really interested in working the business, outwardly talking about it, but I have 9 coaches under me. So, that's something that I'm working on. I have a Facebook page set up for my specific coaches, and I try to post in there at least once or twice a month about, I reach out to them individually as well, but I try to post something in there about my coaching experience and what I've gained and where I want to go. Part of that was aligning my team name with my values and things like that, letting them know where my heart was and what my vision for the team was. Because it's kind of hard to recruit people if you don't know what your own vision is for your team.
Yeah, and I feel like too that like any inkling of a doubt that lives in your mind comes out when you're talking to people about recruiting, whether you're trying to or not, right? So like if it's in your head, I only have 1 coach, or I only have 3 coaches, or I have a small team, and if you have that in your head, then that's how it's going to come out. You know what I mean? Like I actually just told Amy yesterday, she relies on me a little bit for like business advice, right? Like help, I feel like we feed into each other really well. And I told her yesterday, I said, for this elite mastermind that we have, the last elite mastermind, there were 9 of us. For this one, there's 5 of us, and it's a different group. So it's like 2 of us are the same, and then there's 3 new people. And it's funny because she spent like the first 10 minutes of our mastermind saying like, well, we have a smaller group this time, and it's okay. And so I told her later, I go, feedback from me to you. No one there knows like how big our previous one was, right? Like no one really cares. So everyone else was just excited to be there. So that's kind of how I feel about this. Like like I said, no one asks me how many coaches are on my team, or I've never even had anybody ask me like any specific questions about like how much my coaches are earning or anything, like nothing related to that. It's usually just about what they want, right? And what they want has nothing to do with how big your team is. So I think that if you can focus more on filling their void, that's going to lead you to the right path.
Even my my third-party videos that I started doing, I'm definitely Team Body Electric, but I'm actually representing myself for my team now. And I start out every video, hi, I'm Laura Bruno, founder of Team Positive Evolution, because that's my goal, that's my vision. Right. And I want them to be a part of my team and not just, yes, we are a part of Body Electric, just like we're a part of Spartan Nation, but this is my team now. And I want to make sure that they know that.
Yep. Yeah. And I love that you're doing those. I love that you're taking it seriously and that you're doing the videos and stuff, because that goes back to the very first point I made, which is the way that we get good at presenting this is to do it often. Right. And so
Laura, what do you say in your opportunity, or would you be willing to share your opportunity video?
I'm actually creating the opportunity video. I'm in the process of creating that one, but I created one for Shakeology because I felt like that was something that I was getting a lot of people saying it was a protein shake or it was so expensive. So I created a video based on some of those objections. And it just hit the basics of, what it was worth and why I drink it daily and things like that. And I also did I'm trying to think, I did like 2 or 3 videos, one about just challenge groups. And then I think there was another one about just my personal journey in coaching. So now I'm going to create one for specific to recruiting coaches and the opportunity.
I have on the Body Electric website is, if you go to Body Electric or the bodyelectric.us/coaches, we have a 20-minute recording there that I did. That's like a Zoom recording, but I use a PowerPoint. That is something that I'm hoping, I mean, it's still definitely applicable, but it doesn't have the BOD challenge pack incorporated since that's brand new. So I was just thinking today, I was like, I need to go in and update that for the team too. But the one that I share the most, and I'll be honest with you guys, like I have an older video that I use, it's on my YouTube channel, that's just about my journey with coaching and what it has meant to me. That is what I send out to people most often. So I don't worry about covering logistics on like how to get started or any of that, because I feel like that's like a later conversation. I really just talk about my own journey and what it's meant for me, and I plug in those things that we talked about, like the list of what you like about coaching, like that's in my video. So I think if you focus on it being more of like a short 3 to 5 minute testimonial that incorporates the attributes that you enjoy or that you like about coaching, that's a win. And it's very concise. And you'd be great at that, Katie, because you're great on video.
I've just been so stuck on like, well, I like this part of Jenny's, and I like this part of Lindsay Matwade's, and I like this part of Coach Caleb's, and I like this part, and I'm like, every time I sit down to do it, I'm like, I can't, like.
Right.
So I just need to do it, like you said, and then improve it.
Yep.
And focus on you, Katie.
Yeah.
Not other people, you.
Yeah.
They want to see you.
It's just like the parts that I liked were like the things that drew me into the business were like learning, like the way that Lindsay Matwade talks about like the emotional side of the business. I really like that. That's what I mean. Not necessarily her big boobs and her blonde hair flowing, but I like what she says about us being like a rippley wave or whatever, or the shining light. And I don't know.
Isn't she the one that says like turned my scars into stars or something like that? Isn't that her phrase?
I don't know. Probably, maybe. I only ever get through like her videos like 8 minutes long, and I usually only last 4 minutes. So I don't really know what happens at the end.
Well,
but I like the beginning for.
You know, the other thing that you could consider is, and I don't know, this is just a quick off the top of my head idea, is if you guys were to live stream, like let's say that you live streamed, like, you know, Katie, you're thinking, you know, well, there's the emotional route, or I can go this route, like, why not play with it and maybe like live stream on your, like your like page, you know, one thing, like the emotional thing, the emotional side, and then live stream on your regular page, something else, and save them to your camera roll. And then I don't know if you guys have ever used iMovie on your iPhone, but it is so easy to clip them all together. So I almost feel like there could be, I mean, not to make it sound like a lot of work, but I really think that if you thought like, oh, I like how I talked about that, and I like how I talked about that, I think you could merge that all together into one too.
That's cool.
Just like post-production, putting it all together later.
Real quick, what's the name of that book for the mastermind? Sorry, I'm multitasking a little here.
The John Maxwell one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Put Your Dream to the Test.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is so good. It's been on my shelf for years, and I've never touched it, and it's really good.
Is that what your quote was from in your post today about?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, like I said, the book's been on my bookshelf for years, and I always thought it was just a generic title, you know, like put your dream to the test. Okay. Like I thought it was like motivational or something. I was like, I don't need motivation. But digging into it, even just in the first couple of chapters, it's very dense, and it's very good. Like he really put time into creating the right questions to ask. And so the self-assessment portion of this book, or the self-assessment aspect, helping me. I realized just in the first chapter that like I don't have clarity on what my dream is anymore. Like I don't know, I mean, dream, not necessarily goals, but like my dream. So I think it's going to be good for me even to like figure out what that is. But I think it's a great topic for a lot of people, because even if you're not, even for people who aren't pursuing Beachbody full time or who don't really know where they're headed, I mean, Chris is actually going to join us for it, so we're kind of like confused on what he wants to do. I think it's going to be good for anybody to just kind of get really clear on where they want to go and what they want to do and who they want to be. So it'll be a good one. For sure. So, okay, so I want to make sure this is in the recording just so that other people who listen in can see this. I started off with this before we hit record, but for those of you guys who have not seen the Darren O'Lean vegan Shakeology link that I linked in the team page, it's a relatively short video. It's about 20 minutes long. It's where he talks about the new ingredients for the vegan Shakeology new flavors. And just an FYI, the 2 new superfoods and the new formulation is it is going to be for every single flavor, not just the 2 new ones, but they're starting with those and they're phasing them into the other ones, right? So as the supply is available. But if you haven't checked that out, you can check it out. I think what he has to share about the chaga and the matcha and the sugar components are all really great information, because I know we're going to get questions from challengers and coaches on that. So from my perspective, not that anybody's asked my opinion, but I love the new changes. I love there's actually a conversation going on the wall, and there's a few of us who are like, there's 1 or 2 girls that are registered dietitians who are elite coaches, and then there's a few of us who are nutritionists, and so we're having this we had this stream going on yesterday anyway about the new ingredients, and one of the registered dietitians said how thrilled she was about the addition of cane sugar. And so it's funny because like our clients see sugar and they freak out because they're like, what? Like, you run sugar-free challenges and you tell me no sugar, and now you're telling me there's sugar in Shakeology. And so if you guys haven't read the book Super Life, Darren O'Lean actually has a whole chapter in there on the benefits of raw sugar, like the benefits of unrefined, like turbinado or raw sugars. So the way the body processes those sugars is entirely different than how the body processes, I should say, doesn't process fructose. And fructose is very, I won't say it's very high, because as he shares in the video that's in the team page, the overall sugar content of Shakeology is extremely low, like extremely low. Like, we're not just low glycemic index, we're like low glycemic index. Like, we're perfect for diabetics and people who struggle with sugar issues. So even just seeing cane sugar on the label shouldn't scare you. It shouldn't scare your coaches and your challengers. We even had, in that conversation in the wall, we even had a registered dietitian tell us that most diabetics who are on insulin or on, pretty strict, I guess I should say, restrictions, that they are usually advised by RDs to consume raw sugar, if any sugar, and not stevias, not agaves, not fructose sugars. So you can do your own research on it if you want to, but I think Darren's video covers it well enough. In case you do get questions about it, I think it'll help you be better prepared to answer those questions. But I know for me, I was like fascinated by the chaga. Have you guys done any research on the chaga? I Googled it before. I know, Katie, I figured you did. I Googled it before he even went live, and I was just like, I mean, it literally, you guys, has like, this is off the record in case anybody comes across this video on YouTube, but it has like medicinal properties and connections to like anti-cancer. Like, it's legitimately used in a lot
tumor
of
reduction.
Yeah.
So I am lucky to have a friend who is a fungus specialist. Like, her whole world is mushrooms and fungus. And as soon as I heard the chaga thing, I just put her name in a post. I was like, what can you tell me about chaga? And so she sent me this awesome video all about it. And so then when I listened to Darren's thing, I was like, yeah, Darren knows his stuff, and he's not making it up. Like, I heard it from a completely non-Beachbody thing. It grows on birch trees. I really want to go hunting at my parents' house and see if I can find some.
He said
and
Michigan. Yeah, he said
yeah.
Michigan. Yeah.
So it had like amazing. Also, the sugar thing, I did not know that sugar had 11 like amino acids and whatever. That was awesome.
Yep. Yeah, we get into trouble, I think, with refined sugars. It's kind of like how traditional society coins fat as being bad. You know, it's sort of the same idea. Like people are like, you know, they're against fat or they want low fat, when really you have quality fats, right? You're actually doing your body a good service. And so I think the same thing is true for sugar. The body can actually process real raw sugar in a good way, in minimal amounts. And this is a very minimal amount. So yeah, I'm excited about it. And I don't know, you guys, this call is way too long and people are going to be like not tuning in because it's so long, but I love the new formulas. Like I love them. Like today I finished my shake, but you know, I've been a little deprived because I can't do dairy. So I've been doing the chocolate vegan for way too long. So I still love my chocolate vegan, but today I finished the vegan cafe latte and I was like taking the straw and like going around the bottom and the corners because I couldn't get enough of it. I wanted to have two. It was that good. So it has both of them have totally different flavors than the regular versions. So vegan vanilla and vanilla are two different flavors. Cafe latte vegan and cafe latte, two different flavors. So, okay, you guys, I'm going to end it here. So if you guys have any more questions, you can post them in the team page. Hopefully you found this helpful. The call will be up tomorrow. I'm so glad you guys tuned in live. Make it a great week. I'll see you guys next week. Try to get your coaches of all levels on next week's call if you can. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.